Goal number 15, life on land, for me is the most important of the goals because it's biodiversity. And biodiversity is all the really cool things that we have on this planet. It's everything beyond humans. Biodiversity for me is being able to go out into your own backyard and maybe look and see lavender bushes, and you can see the small little butterflies that are flying around on them, or the bumblebees. Biodiversity for me is also really, really interesting and really extremely important because it also is what provides us with ecosystem services. And that's all the things that biodiversity gives back to us. So this is things like how biodiversity is influencing the water, how it's creating and holding watersheds and purifying our water so that we can use it in our everyday lives. Biodiversity also influences the weather. For instance, trees have a huge role in, through evapotranspiration. They're bringing water into the atmosphere, and this can influence when and where it's raining, which is very important to us, of course. That comes into croplands, for instance.
You are the project coordinator at the Gothenburg Global Biodiversity Center. How does the research at your center address this goal?
So at the Biodiversity Center, there's a lot of different really interesting projects going on that deal with life on land. For instance, we have researchers who are working with the rate at which mammals are dying out and have been dying out over the past few decades and centuries, since humans have had a very large impact on where they're occurring. Researchers at the Biodiversity Center are also working on understanding the genetic diversity of the organisms that we have on land. And this is really important for actually conserving them, because sometimes you have to decide what kind of priorities are we going to have for conservation. Do we just want to have the most species possible, or do we want to have a larger genetic diversity? Or do we want to have a larger functional diversity? But one of the things is, when we're looking at this, there are these huge areas that haven't even been looked at yet. We don't understand them in a functional sense, we don't understand them in a genetic sense, and we simply don't even know which species are there. And so researchers at the Biodiversity Center have gone to different areas and actually started doing these surveys. So we're contributing to this basic research that gives us a baseline of understanding where can we start conserving things.
Could you choose one of the other goals that is also important for you and describe how these two goals are connected to each other?
The goal that I have chosen to connect Goal 15 to is goal number 2, zero hunger, which is of course a huge problem for humans. We need to make sure that everyone is fed well on a nutritious diet. However, one of the biggest threats to biodiversity is land use, is agricultural land use. So many of our forests are being cut down in order to make way for instance, cattle. So the zero hunger is something that we can absolutely reach, but one of the actions that we will have to take is eating less meat. And if there's one thing that you can do to help preserve biodiversity, it's exactly that. Skip the meat.